Good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Maneko64 here. We're only 4 hours ahead until the 29th of March. I think in the US and Canada, your clocks have gone forward, ours haven't. So it's just before 9 here, and I guess it's just before 5 Eastern time in the US. Maybe next week, what I'll do is I'll start at 8 p.m. here, so I don't have to wait until 9 up until the end of the month. John Meyer, thank you for the purchase of the mugs. Billy is here right now. He's asleep already. So before I start, the title of the live stream is, will we witness a financial collapse or a Japanese style muddle through? So I'll go into that a little later. Just see who's here. Marek Kalenda, hi, nice to see you. John the Glass has a bit of spare cash. Sovs or the bank? I would say Sovs, personally, not the bank. The banks are going to be in trouble. I think the UK banks are not looking very good, nor banks anywhere for that matter. Hi, Gary D. Hi, Pablo. Hi, Aaron. Lord Humongous, nice to see you here. Ben from Australia. Ben 0709. Ben Gray. Hi, Ben Gray. Menapia Man from Dublin. James Reese. Yeah, I've had a nice weekend. I did play golf this morning. Played quite well. Won a bit of money, small bets. So that was good. Pad, Bitcoin falling off a cliff. Yeah, I'm hearing that oil is going to be down like another $10 or something. That would take it down to like 32, which is quite extreme. I see that the Dow weekend Wall Street, which is a betting on IG index, the futures are going to open today at what will be 10 o'clock London instead of 11. So we've got here the Dow down 590 off this betting site. It could change either way, of course. Hi, Graham Hobbs. Nice to see you. Eddie Darmody. Oil below 30. It will probably eventually, but I'm not sure whether it will do it tonight. Lord of Among Us sent Jamie Dimon get well card soon. Get well soon card. James Reason. Kevin Vander Wire from Belgium. Quite a few people already, almost 200. That's good. So one thing I would say, I think a lot of people in the mainstream economic world, in the city, on Wall Street, a lot of economists, central bankers, they think that they can solve what's going on, that they can print money, create credit out of thin air, QE. They're pushing also for fiscal stimulus. I saw that Trump signed on Friday $8 billion to help fight this crisis. And they think that we could keep going, just like Japan has kept going since the early 90s, muddling through, not getting any growth, but also not collapsing. I'm not too sure about that. I think what we're getting now is a big flip from greed. We've had greed the last few years, the stock market going up. That's all greed, in my opinion. And now it's completely flipped into fear. And I think the market is fearful. Investors are fearful because what's going on in terms of the health situation is uncertain, and no one's seen it before. I think there's more fear and panic about the uncertainty than the disease itself. Yeah, Aaron, the low for oil in the last few years has been around 27. I can see why he can see that target. But I just saw that Goldman Sachs said it could go to 20. So we could even go through that level. Yeah, Pablo Pina is 8.3 billion exactly. I said 8 billion. Yeah. Crypto Santa from Australia. Mohammed Fazal, why isn't silver moving? Well, because silver is seen more as half monetary and half industrial. But I think it will move eventually and outperform gold. We'll have to see what will happen tonight when we open in about an hour for us here in London. We're going to be opening earlier for until I think March 29th is when the clocks go forward here in the UK. DMC, I did watch Greg Hunter interview. He interviewed, forgot the guy's name, Steve Quayle. Interesting interview. Yeah, I kind of agree with most of what that guy said. Roseberry, I don't follow too much the shale producers. One thing I would say about ETFs and the way the markets are, is you got to be careful. Don't leave too much money in the system, in my opinion, because you could make a winning trade on a ETF, and then the ETF, the financial institution that has written the ETF could go bust, and you won't get your money. That's one thing I would say about ETFs. I think we're getting to a point where you need to be outside of the system as much as possible. I do have a little bit of funds with my spread trading account. I did quite well from Thursday to Friday with some S&P puts. I closed them out, took my profit. I probably would have made more if I left them open, but who knows? If we get a bounce, I'll probably buy some more puts. I think we're in an environment where you try to sell the rallies right now. I'm not advising people to do puts or options. You need to know about them. If you don't know about options, don't get involved. I've been trading options for over 30 years. Fed quarantines currency repatriated from Asia. I saw that in Italy as well. They basically quarantined almost the whole northern part of Italy, or Lombardy at least, like Milan. Sander 81. Yeah, the Fed. Yeah, the thing is they don't know what else to do. So I think they also are hoping that they'll get fiscal stimulus from Congress. It's not going to be just China. The debt bubble in China. There's a debt bubble in the US, in the UK, in Western Europe. So yeah, China took over kind of the baton after the 08 crisis. Yeah, they've been the leader in debt creation, but we're not going to be immune from it. We are seeing the corporate bond market already get hit. I made a video about it yesterday, about the bond market. I've seen here now on Zero Hedge, even JP Morgan now is warning. They say the credit and funding markets are starting to crack. If these shifts in credit and funding markets are sustained over the coming weeks and months, especially in the issuance space, credit channels might start amplifying the economic fallout from the crisis. So what happens is a lot of corporations, small businesses, they keep rolling over short-term debt. They mostly borrow shorter-term funds because it's cheaper. The problem is if the credit market implodes, like we saw on Thursday, we saw cracks starting. We could see a lot of companies that have debt that pay debt repayments that are due, and usually they've been rolling that debt over. But if the credit market freezes, like J.P. Morgan thinks it can, we could see a lot of bankruptcies all around the world, not just China. And I think it's getting pretty serious. I personally don't think we're going to be able to muddle through. Japan was able to muddle through mainly because all the other economies around the world were still doing well. But if the whole world goes Japanese, I think it won't be a muddle through. It's probably a better thing. It will be disruptive to have a financial or system collapse. It's not going to be pretty. As I said, I think people are more fearful about the uncertainty. I personally am not too concerned about this health crisis. Of course, I take precautions, but I think people need to live their lives normally. I think the authorities are, how can I say, overreacting personally, but who knows? Okay, so that's good. We got over 300 people, 63 thumbs up. How the price of gold is made, OV. Well, in the market, it's what people are willing to buy and sell. It's like any other market. Let's say I'm bidding set 1700. You offer it 1705. We wait. You might not want to wait, and then you hit my bid, and the price trades at 1700. There is, of course, a lot of paper trading in gold, though. It's just like any other market. It's a market where people buy and sell. Sorry if I haven't seen some of the questions. We got quite a few people. Yeah, so I think there's a lot of people out there in the markets, investors, Wall Street, City of London, analysts, economists, that expect the central banks, especially the Fed, to come to the rescue now in terms of corporate bonds. They could do that. Will it help if companies are really not doing any business? If companies are going under, going bankrupt, will it help? I'm not sure. The other thing that people are talking about is whether the Fed will try to buy stocks. I personally think this is much bigger than central banks. I think we're going from a period of greed that we've had for the last few years with buy the dip to a period of extreme fear. Yeah, it's going to get overdone on the downside, just like it's been overdone on the upside. Lord Humongous, do you think that Dow will melt up and then drop off again? Well, on Friday, it rallied quite a bit towards the end of the day, still finished down 250. I think it's due to open pretty sharply lower this evening. We'll have to see. I think there will be rallies in the Dow short covering, but I think they will be taken as opportunities to sell. So we've gone from buy the dip to sell the rally, in my opinion. Dave Humphreys, do you think Bitcoin can go up? Yeah, of course it can go up. It's down. I think cryptocurrencies are down quite sharply this weekend, but I have a bit of Bitcoin and I'm going to hold on to it, but not that much. It's very speculative, but you don't have to have that much to maybe benefit from it. I'm holding on to my precious metals, gold and silver. No, hi No, nice to see you. Here to chew gum and kick in the house of stock. Here to chew gum and kick the coronavirus butt. Annabelle Franks made some decent money selling credit call options on EasyJet. Indicator showing stock was way overbought. Strong Dollar says they will confiscate gold. I don't think so because back in the 30s when gold was confiscated, gold was part of the monetary system. It was money. Nowadays, very few people own gold. So I'll stick to, I'm not scared of them confiscating it. I don't think they will. You can always buy numismatic. Don't buy very collectible numismatic, just above spot. And I think in the US, you'll be safe. In the UK, they've never confiscated gold. They've limited the amount of gold you can buy, but not confiscate. Bonds melt up. Well, the government bonds, yes, but corporate bonds, they're going down, I think, especially now with what's happened in the oil market. The Russians didn't play ball with OPEC. It looks like oil is going to drop even further when we open tonight. And I think that could hurt a lot of banks on Wall Street. They've made a lot of loans to the fracking industry in the US, and the oil price needs to be at $65 for them to make money. Silver, does it go higher in a depression? Not as much as gold, probably, but I think I haven't really looked too much what it did in the 30s, but I would say it did quite well. Silver was money, of course, in the 30s. So if you had silver, you had money, and very few people had any money during the Depression. So I would stick to silver. Lynn Gordon, historical lapse, a shift in paradigm. Yeah, bankers can now blame the virus. Yeah, people are, yeah, no one's going to talk about the fact that the problem is this massive credit bubble, the fact that they didn't fix anything after '08, and people are going to be hoodwinked again. We're not, and that's why we're going to hold on to our gold and silver. Good luck to those who don't have any. But it's not only about having gold and silver, it's also about trying to stay healthy, about trying to protect yourself and your family and close friends and community as well. Hard asset stack, how much do you leave in the bank or institution? I only leave enough money to pay my monthly bills in the bank. Don't like, because your money in the bank is not your money. It's an unsecured loan. So I try to avoid these financial institutions as much as possible. When do you believe it will crash? What are you asking about, Yassine? You mean the stock market? Well, it already started crashing a couple of weeks ago. So we're already in a crash. We might have some rebounds, but we're in a crash. Matthew Rhodes, my bank threatened to close all my accounts for withdrawing too much. Yeah, that's why you should avoid them at any cost, because they treat you like dirt, the banks. Is it possible that China starts selling their gold holdings? No, I think they've got enough. They've got plenty of dollars to sell before they would think about getting rid of their gold. Lucas Razor, love how diverse your discussions are. Manarino and Zhang are professional regurgitators, but you have a really good balance. Well, I like Greg and Lynette Zhang. I mean, I try to talk about things. I mean, I do focus on the markets and precious metals. Sometimes I wonder if I'm repeating things too much, but I try to diversify. Pablo Pino, do you speculate a global depression or a reset into a system to booster cable the economy? You mean cable sterling? Uh, I think no economy is going to be immune to this, to what's coming. I think it's already too late. Uh, well, I mean, it's already baked in the cake that we're going to have a massive, deep recession, if not a depression. If you look in the mainstream, they're admitting now that we will probably have a recession, but they're also, I think, burying their heads in the sand. Cozy Fantuti, Mario, if JP Morgan manipulated silver, shouldn't they have their silver confiscated as proceeds of crime? Well, JP Morgan and the US government are one and the same, I would say, and the Fed. So they're in charge, actually. So they wouldn't prosecute themselves. They run things in the US. It's not really. So they're doing that because they're in charge. It would be nice if people woke up to that, and maybe President Trump woke up to that and actually prosecuted the bankers, but I wouldn't hold my breath. Alan Ewert, oil. Yeah, I guess what happened on Friday was that Russia decided not to help OPEC in cutting oil production, and the price plummeted, I think, 8% down to around $42. Over the weekend, it looks like Saudi Arabia is also going to start producing more. They don't care. I think the Russians did what they did because they want to punish the fracking industry in the US. Why would they want to do that? Well, because America has been sanctioning Russia. They sanctioned the companies that were helping Russia build the pipeline, the Nord Stream 2. So this is like what's happening in the oil market is revenge best served cold by the Russians, in my opinion. And also the fact that the economies all around the world are grinding to a halt because of this crisis. That doesn't help oil. And what's going on is that OPEC basically is kind of disappeared. OPEC has lost all credibility, and that's probably bad for the petrodollar as well, because the petrodollar does well when the oil price is high, and the OPEC countries have a lot of petrodollar receipts to recycle into the treasury market, into the dollar. So I think the dollar is going to weaken even further. There's talk that the dollar is already over this weekend already is opened a lot lower versus the yen. Strong dollar, yeah. Well, he believes in the strong dollar, and he's been wrong for the last few weeks. Not saying he couldn't be right. The dollar will be strong versus stocks and a lot of other assets, paper assets, the dollar. But I would say precious metals are going to outperform because gold is money. The dollar, as strong dollar sees it, is actually a Federal Reserve note, is a debt instrument. But he can hold on to his dollars or his paper dollars. I won't. Robert Garnier, you're welcome. I do this every Sunday anyway, 9 o'clock London. I will probably be doing next week at 8 o'clock London because the clocks haven't gone forward here. They go forward only on the 29th of March. And I think in the US and Canada, they've gone forward overnight. SAC Media is late. Oh, don't worry. We've only been here about 25 minutes. Quite a lot of viewers almost 500. That's pretty good for me. Actually, that's really good. Reset. Reset is, excuse me, let me just take a drink. Well, let's say in the last century, there's been in the US two big resets. The first one was after the crash of 29 during the Great Depression. Roosevelt came into power in 1933. The banking system was collapsing. People were rushing to take their gold out of the bank. Gold was money. And he basically closed the banks, bank holiday. He confiscated the gold. And then in January of 1924, he reset the price of gold to the dollar from $20.67 to $35 an ounce. That was a reset, overnight reset. And then I would say the last reset was in 1980. And as gold was not fixed at the time, it was trading in the market. It didn't happen overnight. So it's basically when paper assets are rebalanced versus gold or real money. And I think the present reset started in the year 2000 when you needed 45 ounces of gold to buy one Dow. Right now, you only need 15. And I think eventually when the reset will be complete, when we are near 1-to-1, so 1 ounce of gold will buy one Dow. That's the gist of it, a reset. Just reality, do you think we are seeing a rejection of silver as a safe haven? No, I don't think so. I think silver will catch up. People will wake up to the fact that silver is a safe haven. Right now, it's been considered too much of an industrial commodity, but I think it will join gold eventually. Jeff 43 holding gold and silver mining stocks. Yeah, they haven't done too well, but I think they will do well. You just need to be patient and be careful. Maybe, don't try to chase them, the price, I would say. Harry Chu, are Americans in a panic that will cause economic activity to screech to a halt? I don't think it's only Americans. I think it's all around the world. Yeah, I think there's more danger from the panic than from the disease itself. That's how human psyche works. Strong dollar, silver is going to remain low for decades. Strong dollar didn't learn how to about spelling or grammar. He writes everything in capital. Anyway, Dave Humphreys, gold actually was up almost $100 last week. It's just going to get more and more volatile in this environment. So we could be up $100 tomorrow, and then drop 50 or 100 again, and then be up another 200. It's going to get really wild, I think, gold. But I would hold on to it, as I've said. You got to hold on for dear life. Gold is saving and safe insurance. Graham Hobbs thinks silver will catch up when people on Main Street catch up. That will be time to sell. Good morning from Melbourne, from TD. Hi, TD. Nice to see you. JP Morgan's criminal bank having the most silver and has 6 silver riggers with charges in court. Jonathan Ruppel, are they going to pay us to borrow money? They're already doing that in Europe. That's probably what they will do just to keep the debt bubble going. I wouldn't borrow. I still wouldn't borrow from them if they did that. Bitcoin, I think Bitcoin has a place as a currency in the free market. I do have some Bitcoin, but not that much. I think you don't need that much to benefit from it. But it's very volatile, a lot more volatile than precious metals. A lot of people here today. I'm trying to keep up with all these questions and comments. Sandra 81, do you want to hold some cash to buy stocks in the dip? I'd rather trade options than buy stocks. But eventually there will be a time when the whole world doesn't want stocks, nobody loves stocks, that will be the time to buy. But I don't think we're anywhere near that. Pudenda says they may pay us to stay home from work. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of that. I think that's quite outrageous. Taxpayers have to pay other people to stay at home and do nothing. But that's the whole one of the reasons why everything's wrong with the system. Everyone thinks that government can provide for everyone. No one realizes that governments don't produce anything. They just take from the productive private sector. Oh, Rumpelstiltskin is here from Japan. Good morning from the land of the rising sun. Mobius 70, what do you think will be the pin for the derivatives bubble? Well, we're already seeing it. I think it's this disease. It hasn't reached the derivatives market yet because the Fed is bailing them out with the repo support, but it will. MMNO says mash the like buttons. Yeah, 170 thumbs up. Linked on air, the work from home is about the smartphone-based performance tracking apps being introduced. Yeah, there's an interesting video by Amazing Polly. I don't know if you guys know her. She's Canadian. She was talking about how in a lot of places in China now, you can't move anywhere if you don't have an app on your phone. And this app on the phone gives you a green light or orange or red. If you don't get a green light, you can't go places. It's crazy. Yeah, the banks are suffering. I've been watching some of the banks here in the UK. Their share price is near post 08 lows. So I think the banks are going to be in trouble. Central banks are probably going to print a lot of money to keep them going. Lacomi Denny from Belgium. Hi, Lacomi. Am I left-handed? No, I'm not. I'm right-handed. Per Knudsen from Norway. Hi, Per. Why would you not borrow at negative interest rates? What are the yeah, they are paying you to borrow, of course, but you still have to pay them back the principal. I would rather not deal with them. So, and what if rates start, going up? You got to make sure you borrow fixed. But yeah, you could, if you think you could take that money, that you borrow and do something that will give you a good return, then go ahead. But my first instinct is not to deal with them. But I'm not saying that you shouldn't. If they're gonna pay you to do it, but always read the small print. Don't trust these guys, I would say. Metro Bank, yeah, Metro Bank has been in trouble for a couple of years now. Um, it, it could theoretically be allowed to fail because it's really small. So I would be careful having money there. My daughter has an account there, but she doesn't have that much money in it. So I told her not to worry about it. Sender 81, thank you very much for the super chat donation, and you're welcome. Jack B traded all his silver for gold in 2010, 2011. I keep both, but maybe it's a good time now to get back into silver, Jack B. I'm not saying you should. I'm just giving you my opinion. Steve Leisman shorts. I'm not sure who's short. I think it's there's a guy, a hedge fund in London. I forgot his name. Has a big short in Metro Bank. One thing that I'm lucky about this working at home thing is that now that I do a lot of my videos and this is like almost a business for me. I don't have to, go anywhere, which is good. Even though I was invited to go to Holland, and I'm going on the 20th to Holland to speak at an investment conference in Breda. Yeah, and if I can go, I will go. I booked the flight months ago already, so I'm looking forward to that. Dennis Kirsten's. No, I don't think silver is going to crash because silver hasn't really gone anywhere for the last 7 years. If anything, I'm more bullish silver now. Yeah, I do keep enough. We do have enough dog food, but I bought quite a bit of canned food like over 2 weeks ago when no one was going to the supermarkets here in London because I knew it would come. So we've got plenty of dog food and food for us. And if his food was to run out, he can always eat human food. So as long as it's not bad for him. Billy likes having the leftovers of like a roast dinner. He loves chicken as well. He loves vegetables with gravy. So he'll eat anything. Donald Bump. Breda is next to my city. The two hotspots at the moment. Cause of carnival, possible huge community infection. Yeah, I'm still, the organizers saying they're still going ahead. We'll have to see. Even though, that's one thing. I'm not scared of these things because we're all gonna go one day. So you might as well keep living. Of course, you need to be careful. Oil going to 25, very possible. Supposedly it's going to open a lot lower in about 28 minutes. Brian Carno, if yeah, no, I wouldn't do that. That's a silly comment, I think. Yeah, I haven't seen that, Rod. Rod says, is there room in the Spire's narrative to include silver for its antiviral properties? Yeah, I don't know why they don't say that, more because it is. I've got colloidal silver. I spray my hand and my face a few times a day. I bought colloidal silver. Of course, you can wash your hands as well. Strong dollar. He must be from the New York Fed, or he must be a central banker. He wants people to hold the Federal Reserve rubbish paper. I won't. Jack B, how many US dollars will they print, or more like issuing the credit? Well, the Fed does create it out of thin air, and then they buy the debt. So yeah, I think their next QE could be a trillion over the next 12 months, maybe even more, 1,500, 1.5 trillion. So yeah, I expect their balance sheet to go to be above five. Where is it now? Yeah, 4.2. I expect them to be over 5 trillion early next year. I think they're gonna start QE again, and they're probably gonna be buying a lot of corporate bonds. They're gonna be buying probably stocks, maybe. Who knows? Hoard toilet paper. Yeah. Harry True, do you think the disease will make public more accepting of the corporate bailouts coming? Partly, but the other thing is that they'll be so worried about other things, about the disease itself or the disruptions, that they're not even gonna like realize that they're doing the bailouts, and they're gonna use probably different names for it, like QE, because they're gonna be buying the corporate bonds and the stocks. So yeah, I think it's gonna go over their heads. John Mayer, if silver goes to 11 or less, it's the very remedy against the low price. That's right. That's how the commodity markets work. When the prices get too high, you get more production and then more supply, and then it drives the price lower, and then vice versa. It's cyclical. Isabella, you're right. Gold is money. There's one person in this chat who doesn't realize that. I won't mention his name or her name. Trade gold teeth for dog food. I guess you could. Where would one sells some physical gold? Well, whoever you buy it from, the dealer usually buys it back, or you could sell it privately. If you know people who are interested, you can make them an offer. Uh, yeah, just Google bullion dealers or precious metals dealers. Gold is not used for transactions. Maybe so, because it's, the fiat currency is by law legal tender, but gold is accepted all around the world, and you can quit. It's the most liquid kind of asset. It's even more. You take a 50-pound note to, I don't know, to somewhere around, in Asia, no one will accept that. Probably you take an ounce of gold, they'll accept it. So that's right, Mr. B1923. Gold is money, everything else is credit. JP Morgan said that. All right, of course. Yeah, gold is a reserve asset. That's why central banks keep it, because it's money. It's not tradition, as Bernanke said. He didn't want to admit it. Why is oil so cheap? Well, because the market's forecasting a massive economic slowdown. China is a huge consumer of oil, and their economy is like, uh, well, it's kind of they've put it on hold, so to speak, and the rest of the world is same thing is happening. That's why oil has gone down, and OPEC seems to not be able to work together. OPEC has lost kind of its power, so to speak. Uh, JN, I don't think there are restrictions on buying gold in Germany. There's restrictions on how much you can pay for gold with cash. Or you can pay with cash as much as you want, but you have to give like documents to prove who you are and where you live. Prior to January this year, you could buy as much gold as you wanted, cash with no ID. I think it's an anti-money laundering rule. So there is no limit on how much gold you can buy in Germany. Is just a limit on how you can buy it anonymously. OPEC proves there's no honor amongst thieves. Well, it's the same thing, for the central banks. The central banks are a cartel as well. Let's hope they go the way of OPEC as well. Mr. B, 1923, thank you for the super chat donation. Buy some Bitcoin with this. The revolution will not be centralized. Thank you. I agree. Decentralization is a good thing. Yeah, repo market, every market will be really interesting, I think, tomorrow or even in about 20 minutes when they open. How many ounces to pay a $200,000 home? Well, we just have to do the calculation. Right now, 1 ounce is about 1,700. So you take 200,000 divide by 1,700. Strong dollar say they will confiscate your gold. Why would they do that if gold is not really, how can I say, valuable? From what you've been telling us, strong dollar, it's not worth us holding gold. So why would they care about gold and confiscate it? You've just proven your point that gold is actually money, because why would they confiscate gold if it wasn't any good? So there you go, strong dollar. But I don't think they will confiscate because they can print now. Back in 1933, they had a limit on how much they could print. They don't have to worry about the limit. John Meyer, copper. Yeah, I think if things go really change and we see a complete collapse of this fiat currency system, which I hope would happen. Yeah, I think copper could come back because copper has always been one of the monetary metals: copper, silver, and gold. So why not? Yeah, they won't confiscate dollars because it's worthless. Anyway, so enough of a strong dollar. Opinions on crypto. Yeah, I've been following cryptos for since 2013. I think they have a use. I think, yeah, it will be a big part of the future monetary system. Not system, but it will be a currency in a free market, hopefully. Hopefully, they'll be able to keep the central bankers at bay and the politicians at bay. I have some Bitcoin and some other cryptos, and but I wouldn't, you know, bet the house on it. You don't have to bet too much on it to make maybe good returns. We got some trolls here. Let's get rid of them. Okay. Silver form, high silver form. Well, in terms of the dollar index, I've made several videos about how there's a cycle, like 7 to 9 year cycle, and I think that the last top was January 2017. We topped at 103.82, and I think we're going to see the dollar index keep going down until the middle of this decade. Let's get rid of this. Okay. All these trolls. Okay. PH2. I think we will. I mean, we got to 1692 last week. I think we're actually going to open above 1700 in about 15 minutes. Futures. Margaret, copper purifies water. Nude photos of currency, Mario. Lol. All right, I'll take a few more questions, and then we'll call it a night for me. I know it's morning in Australia, an afternoon in the US. Just a few more questions. Bill Perry, any thoughts on Lebanon going belly up? Yeah, I saw that they defaulted on, I think, $1.2 billion. I think I didn't really read much about it, but I saw one headline. One of their leaders said that it's unfair to not to default if the Lebanese people can't take their monies out of the banks. So the banks have closed down, and the government said, we're not going to pay you back. So I think it's a good thing they did. They defaulted on that loan, 1.2 billion. Pablo Pina, how gold miners will do in a deep recession. I think they will do well because if gold keeps going up, people are going to realize that the miners will do well as well. The gold miners did very well during the Great Depression. Trolls are getting smarter. Annika, during the last leg down, the market had PMs and cryptos move lower. If stock market will continue down, can we trust pressure in the crypto or safe haven? I'm not sure about cryptos, but precious metals definitely are safe haven, in my opinion. I wouldn't want to sell my precious metals unless I needed it for an emergency. Okay, thank you, everyone, and have a great rest of the weekend or a great start of the week. if you're in Australia or in Asia or Japan. And I'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye.